Hi, everyone. Welcome to the week that changed the world, our special program based on Holy Week. Just an opportunity for us to connect and discuss the important things that took place. Just going to give ourselves a little bit of time to make sure that we are showing up on social media and that people are able to connect and be a part of our sharing today. First, also, just happy Holy Thursday, Monday, Thursday. And I trust that although it's not going to be online, so it's in person only, we'll get to see quite a few of you at our contemplative communion service this evening. It's at 7 o'clock, so you still have time to make arrangements. And once we're done here with this live video, you're able to get in your car and start heading over. So my name is Juan. I'm the senior minister of the spiritual community. And if you've been connecting with these videos this week, it's really born out of an awareness that there is such power in Holy Week, and there is such power in us recognizing that in a week's time, not only can we change our lives, but we can change humanity, really, as we recognize more fully our truth and our connection with the divine, with God, and are able to really not only learn from our master teacher, Jesus, and everything that he went through, but actually be able to embody our Christhood more fully. And so, Thursday is the day that we really honor and celebrate the Last Supper. And the Last Supper was really Jesus and the apostles coming together for Passover and honoring that Jewish holiday, which started last night for the Jewish community and is going on till sundown. And a lot of things took place during this time of the Last Supper. There were a lot of things that Jesus did and spoke about with the apostles as he gathered together with them. First he washed the disciples' feet, a really beautiful representation of humility. And again, like we looked at yesterday, how are we of service to others? How is our Christhood in service to others? And how do we allow our own Christ nature to be that which washes our feet, which washes away that which we have thought as limiting or challenging or dirty, for lack of a better word. And he does this towards the beginning of their time together. And then when they are together at the table, and I also just want to really lift up, how blessed it feels, especially when we're about to move into a challenge or in the midst of a difficult time, to be able to lean on community, to be able to lean on the people that we have surrounded ourselves with, our friends, our family, our chosen family. And I imagine that you've had some experiences where being able to lean on somebody who is there to support us, even by their presence being there, makes that which we are moving through lighter. And so we get an opportunity to do that. That's one of the things that we're doing tonight, right? When we come together for our Holy Communion service and sound bath healing, is coming together in community. Now, during the Last Supper, Jesus shares that he knows that one that is there around him and around the table will betray him by the end of the night. And he's aware, right? Like he's aware that the challenges, the difficulties, the hurt, the pain are going to take place. And he's not necessarily blaming or shaming anyone in it. He's just aware that it's part of what is going to take place. During the Last Supper, Jesus also gives the people present the new commandment to love one another. And so that's one of the ways in which we, as um, people who are in the spiritual path, can honor the spiritual path, can honor God, is by continuing to ask ourselves, how can we love each other more fully? He foretells that Peter, his one of his apostles, which the apostle that actually metaphysically stands for and symbolizes faith, that Peter will deny him 3 times. And how many times have we denied our own Christhood? How many times have we denied the good that is within us? Not only denied that it is within us, but denied ourselves and others the blessing of living into our Christ nature, its full potential. In this time, especially in the Gospel of John, he also includes quite a few parables and sayings that begin with the I am. I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. Goes on later to say, I am the true vine. And, I was really pondering on this specific part of the Thursday experience, because here is Jesus recognizing that he's going to be betrayed, that he's going to be denied by Peter, that he's going to be arrested, that he's going to go through the crucifixion. And here he is speaking these I am affirmations. It made me ask myself, when I'm in the process of moving into a time of challenge or in the midst of a time of challenge, what's my self-talk? What's your self-talk when you're in the midst of something that is difficult, that there is hurt or pain? What's the self-talk? Is it, I'm not good enough? Is it, I deserve this? Is it, I'm not going to be able to get through it? I don't know how I'll be able to get through it. What is it that we say to ourselves? Well, Jesus, in the midst of everything that was going on, is reminding himself and others of the power of the Christ that he is. And so what would a difficult experience or a challenging time look like if in the midst of it, what we do is we take a moment, we take a breath, we pause, and we just remember our truth and affirm our truth. I am whole. I am truth. I am life. I am part of the vine, right? Like, I am wisdom. Whatever that affirmation is, I am love. I am compassion. But what is it that we use next to that I am? That Christ nature is also sometimes referred to as our I am identity, and so what are we attaching to such a powerful phrase, I am? What are we taking on? And what is the energy that we are either lifting ourselves up with or keeping us in the drama, in the difficulty, in the more difficult or unhealthy way of moving through life? And so what has been some of your self-talk? And what is the self-talk that you want to take on? What are the affirmations that you want to take on and make them a part of your own ritual and sacred time as we move through life? The other thing I want to share with you today is that after the Last Supper, and we're going to talk tomorrow, Friday, about Jesus's arrest and everything that took place, because it was much later in the evening, maybe past midnight. And so we'll talk about that tomorrow. But towards the end of the night, after the Last Supper, after Jesus speaks about what's going to take place and reminds the apostles and all those gathered about the truth of who he was and is, and also promises to send the Holy Spirit to support people to live in the way, right? Like that Christ way. But so he goes to Mount Olives, he goes to Gethsemane to pray. And he asks his apostles, Peter, John, and James, to come along with him as he goes into that prayer time. And when he gets to Gethsemane, he asks that those three apostles sort of stay behind, and he walks a little bit ahead to pray. Now, Peter, as we talked about yesterday, and John, as we talked about yesterday, they represent metaphysically the power of faith and the power of love. James represents the power of judgment. And so here is faith, love, and judgment coming along with Jesus. But once Jesus goes to pray on his own, when he comes back from that prayer, he realizes that Peter, John, and James are asleep. And what's interesting about that is that while Jesus is praying, one of the things that he is doing is really asking God if there's any way that this next part of his path, the crucifixion, could be taken from him. Is there any way that he doesn't have to go through what he's about to go through? And I think about the times that I've thought the same thing. This is so difficult. Why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to experience this? And a lot of times it's because there are aspects of me that are asleep. My faith is asleep. Because if my faith was awake, what I would be able to see and experience, I believe, is that regardless of the situation, God is with me. Regardless of the situation, there is good that is emerging from it. When love is asleep, I am in this harmony with life. I am pushing life away. I am in this harmony with my own self. I'm not loving life. I'm not loving myself. And that which is my truth, that will set me free and move me through any difficulty or challenge. And of course, when I am not in the flow of life, I am in judgment. And I am judging from the sense of ego, the sense consciousness, rather than awakening to divine judgment, that judgment that discerns how to move through life. And here is Jesus, not sure, right, like how he's going to be moving through the next couple of days. And so I've had that same thing happen to me. I'm not sure. Well, we can be sure if we awaken that divine faculty of judgment, of discernment, and ask that Christ nature within us, to ask that divinity within us, to ask the very presence of God in our lives, what shall I do next? What path should I take? What steps are for me to take next? How can I move from where I'm at to the promise of the resurrection, the promise of knowing fully my divine identity? And so this is an invitation that as we are moving it through, to continually do the work of waking up our power of faith to its utmost potential, waking up our power of love to its utmost potential, and waking up the power of discernment and judgment to its utmost potential, so that through that we can experience what Jesus experiences next, because Jesus goes back and forth 3 times actually, to see that they're asleep. And in Luke, in the only gospel, it's the only gospel that actually has this, an angel appears to him. And an angel metaphysically is the wisdom of God showing up as a divine idea. And so here I am realizing for myself that I don't have to walk this path by myself. Not only can I surround myself with chosen family, with community to lean on, but I can lean on that Christ nature within me to wake up my faculties, my powers of faith, of love, and discernment and judgment. And from that place, as I'm open and as I'm receptive, I will receive that divine idea to know how to move through things, to remember that there is all the strength that I need already within me, for the strength of God is in me, and that I can move through any life experience knowing that the end result is not only grace, but it is a deeper understanding of my truth, a deeper understanding of your truth. And so as you walk through this path this week, I ask you these questions. What's your self-talk in moments of challenge? What is it that you lean on in moments of difficulty? And how can you move into a practice of waking up within any situation the power of faith, the power of love, and the power of judgment and discernment in the activity of your life? I think that's one of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves, to be able to lean on each other and to be able to lean on the power of God within us. And so I look forward to sharing a little bit more about the Last Supper for those of you who are going to be joining us in person at Temple Israel at 7 o'clock tonight. And then I look forward to speaking to you about Good Friday tomorrow at this time, 5:30 on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you again for joining us. Namaste.